Okay, so you're hearing a lot about this whole Etsy side hustle thing, right?
Right.
Specifically the idea of print on demand, right?
Yeah.
And you want to know, is it really possible to make, like, serious cash?
Mm-hmm.
Like, enough to maybe ditch your day job cash? We're going to deep dive into that today.
Okay.
With the help of our resident e-commerce guru. They've got their finger on the pulse of all things small business.
Happy to be here.
Yeah.
And ready to, help separate the dream from the doable.
Perfect. Because our listener sent in this article about an Etsy seller, Emily,
Okay.
who's apparently raking in $220,000 a year with print-on-demand products.
Well,
Just let that number sink in for a second. $220,000.
yeah.
It sounds almost too good to be true, right?
It does.
So is Emily some kind of unicorn?
Yeah.
Or are there lessons here that anyone can apply?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Right.
While we can't guarantee anyone else's results, what's fascinating about Emily's story isn't just, the income, but how she's achieved it,
Mm-hmm.
The article mentions she started with less than $40, which is mind-blowing in itself.
Yeah.
But what's really impressive is that she's systematized her business to work around her life, not the other way around.
Right.
Yeah.
She's got a family, a part-time job. It's not like she's living in a basement, like churning out T-shirts 24/7, right?
Right.
That seems key for a side hustle, making it sustainable alongside, well, actually having a life.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Sustainability is key. And, it's interesting to note that Emily launched her business in 2022.
Okay.
The timing there is significant because the whole landscape of work-life balance was kind of upended by the pandemic.
Right.
Suddenly, a lot of people were craving more flexibility and control over their income streams.
Yeah. It's like the pandemic really forced people to reevaluate their priorities.
Absolutely.
Suddenly, that side hustle dream didn't seem so crazy anymore.
Yeah.
And the article talks about print on demand being potentially passive income,
Right.
which, of course, sounds amazing.
It does.
But I'm guessing there's no such thing as a totally passive income stream, is there?
You got it.
Okay.
Passive income can be a bit misleading. It's not about zero effort.
Right.
It's about leverage. You put in the work up front to create a system, and then ideally that system starts working for you.
Right.
But there's definitely still effort involved. Creating designs, listing products, marketing, customer service, all that good stuff. The beauty of it is that your income isn't directly tied to the hours you clock in, unlike a traditional job.
Okay. That makes sense. So it's less about, like, sitting back and watching the money roll in
Right.
and more about, setting things up strategically.
Exactly.
So you're not constantly trading hours for dollars. The article mentioned Emily uses batch working.
Okay.
Can you explain what that is and maybe how it applies to something like an Etsy shop?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Batch working is a productivity game changer, especially for side hustlers. It's about grouping similar tasks together and tackling them in kind of focused bursts. So instead of switching between like designing, writing listings, and answering customer emails throughout the day,
Right.
Emily might dedicate one day to designing, another to listings, and so on. This minimizes context switching and maximizes efficiency.
That's so smart. I can see how that would be helpful in managing a side hustle.
Yeah.
It's about intentionally carving out focused time for specific tasks. Like, instead of constantly feeling scattered, you're saying, okay, Tuesday is for list and new designs, no distractions.
Exactly.
So, listeners, take note. Strategic procrastination is a thing.
Yes.
But speaking of designs, I bet some people are listening to this thinking,
Yeah.
hold on, I'm not some, like, design whiz.
Right.
I can barely draw a stick figure.
Yeah.
And the article did mention you don't necessarily need to be a pro to make print-on-demand work.
Right.
So is that true?
Yep.
Can you really sell designs without, like, being an artist?
You absolutely can.
Okay.
Emily herself actually uses templates and simple designs.
Okay.
And a lot of successful Etsy sellers outsource that part altogether.
Okay.
The real magic happens in what we call niche research.
Okay.
It's about tapping into those specific interests and passions that people are searching for on Etsy, often without even realizing it.
Right. It's that emotional connection the article talked about. Like, I once bought this tea towel with a pun about sourdough bread.
Okay.
I mean, I dabble in sourdough, but it was more the sheer ridiculousness of it that, like, got me,
Yeah.
and bam, impulse purchase.
Exactly. It's those products that make us laugh.
Right.
Not an agreement or say, that's oh me.
Yes.
And what's really savvy is how Emily stays on top of trends.
Okay.
She actually uses ChatGPT to brainstorm ideas.
Whoa. Using AI to be a better Etsy seller. That's like next level.
Yeah, it is.
Wow.
She'll give ChatGPT prompts like, give me 10 funny slogans for people who love their cats,
Okay.
or what are some trending memes about coffee right now?
Wow.
It's like having a brainstorming partner,
Right.
but available 24/7.
That is seriously clever.
Yeah.
So it's not just about being like artsy, it's
Right.
about understanding what people find funny, relatable, shareable.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've covered the potential upside,
Right.
but let's not gloss over the potential downsides.
Okay.
The article did mention a couple of common mistakes Etsy sellers make.
Yeah.
One is having too broad of a niche,
Right.
and the other is not having enough listings.
Right.
Can you elaborate on why those are such pitfalls?
Of course.
Okay.
Think of it like this. If you go on Etsy and search for just coffee mug,
Right.
you'll be drowning in like millions of results.
It's overwhelming.
It's overwhelming.
Right.
But if you search for, say, funny cat lady coffee mug, you're speaking directly to a very specific type of person. You've instantly narrowed down your competition and increased your chances of attracting the right buyer.
It's like that saying, if you're speaking to everyone, you're speaking to no one.
Exactly.
So you're saying it's better to have a smaller, highly engaged audience than a huge, indifferent one.
Exactly.
Okay.
And having a narrow niche doesn't mean you're limited in terms of, product ideas.
Yeah.
It just gives you that crucial clarity and focus.
And what about the number of listings? Why is that so crucial?
Yep.
I imagine it's a matter of visibility, right? Like
Yeah.
the more listings you have, the
Yeah.
more likely people are to kind of stumble upon your shop.
That's a big part of it.
Okay.
Imagine walking down a street with shops on either side.
Okay.
Some shops have just a few items displayed in the window, while others have a vibrant, eye-catching array of products.
Right.
Which one are you more likely to be drawn to?
Right.
It's the same principle online.
Okay.
The more listings you have, the more enticing and discoverable your shop becomes.
It's like having more hooks in the water, so to speak.
Right.
You're increasing your chances of catching someone's eye as they're, scrolling through Etsy.
Precisely. And each listing is another opportunity to show up in Etsy's search results.
Right, yeah.
The more kind of relevant keywords you're using across your listings, the better your chances of attracting those, laser-focused buyers.
This has been so eye-opening.
Yes.
It's easy to kind of get caught up in the excitement of a six-figure success story like Emily's.
Sure.
But I think it's important to remember that everyone's journey is different.
Absolutely. Emily's story is incredibly inspiring, but it's just one data point.
Right.
What works for one person might not work for another.
Right.
Success on Etsy, or with any side hustle for that matter, depends on, a whole bunch of factors.
Yeah.
Your goals, your skills, your available time, even your tolerance for risk.
So for someone listening to this right now, maybe feeling a little bit inspired, maybe a little bit overwhelmed, what advice would you give them?
Sure.
How do they figure out if an Etsy side hustle is actually a good fit for them?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
First and foremost, I'd say get really honest with yourself about your motivations.
Okay.
Are you genuinely excited about the idea of creating and selling products?
Right.
Or are you just kind of chasing dollar signs?
Right.
Because let me tell you, if there's no passion behind it, the day-to-day grind of running an Etsy shop can quickly lose its appeal.
It's got to be more than just wanting to, quit your day job.
Right.
That's...
Think about what you're good at, what you enjoy doing, what kind of problems you like to solve.
Right.
Maybe you're a whiz with digital design, or maybe you have a knack for witty slogans. Maybe you're a master organizer, which is a huge asset when it comes to, running a business.
Right.
The point is, there are so many ways to leverage your existing skills and interests in the Etsy marketplace.
It's almost like turning a hobby or a passion into a side gig, which can be incredibly rewarding in itself, even beyond the financial aspect.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that sense of fulfillment, of creating something you're proud of and sharing it with the world, that's what will ultimately fuel your success.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, I think the main takeaway is that a six-figure Etsy side hustle is achievable, as Emily's story proves.
Right.
But it's not about getting rich quick.
Yeah.
It's about finding your niche, creating something you're passionate about, and building a sustainable business that fits into your life, not the other way around.
Beautifully said. And if I can leave our listener with one final thought, it would be this. Don't be afraid to experiment, to try new things, and to embrace the learning process. Every mistake is an opportunity for growth. Who knows, that side hustle you start today could blossom into something far beyond what you ever imagined.
What an inspiring note to end on. This has been such a fantastic deep dive into the world of Etsy side hustles. Remember, it's not just about the money, it's about the journey, the creativity, and the possibility of turning your passion into something truly special. Until next time, happy hustling, everyone.